Ugh. Hello, my name's 11, and I've come here for a special announcement. I am officially going to replace the filming Daniel as this film's review. Well, not really this film's review, but presenter of this review. And as you know by my incredibly convincing American accent that has probably nothing to do with the 11 character due to my poor impression, but just to make sure, I am always watching. Friends never lie. Okay, obviously you know that I'm not going to do this entire video like this. I mean, I'd like to, but my arm's gonna get achy, and I need it to do this. Hey! Wait, that's alright. Is this some sort of 3D experience? Obviously, I'm not gonna do that video like that.
The filming Daniel.
Hey guys, it's Daniel here, and I'm finally back with a new video, and in the month of October. Yep, that's right, it's October. That means it's getting close to Halloween season. Finally here, and got all my horror movies in the back. Got that mask. I remember I made that mask years ago. Well, you might not remember, but you might have seen it in the background of my... I think it was my Phineas and Ferb, the movie, Candace Against the Universe review. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about something that I guess gets people in the Halloween mood sometimes, because of the mysterious creatures that this little girl encounters in this amazing show. Because today, I'm here to talk about the animated comedy, horror, mystery, drama, and everything awesomeness series on Netflix, Hilda. Wow, I am very excited to talk about this show, so let's get started. So the plot of Hilda takes place in this world where creatures of like enchantment are all around the area. People usually take it as a common thing, but it's still a very mystical, very enchanted world that these characters are living in. And the show follows our titled character, a little girl named Hilda, who lives in the wilderness with her mum. But one day, after living in the wilderness for a very long time, Hilda and her mum have no choice but to move to the city because of the dangerous surroundings that their home is in the wilderness. So they move into the city of Trollberg, where Hilda meets new characters, some new friends, some new mystical creatures, and trying to find the courage to stand up to those creatures, help them, and finding who she really is inside. And drama, misunderstandings, friendship, and all sorts of amazingness ensues. So, I'm pretty sure if you follow Netflix for a while, this show is definitely one of the top shows to appear on Netflix. Like, even if you've seen the show or not, you know of the popularity of the show Hilda. It's based off, I believe, this, like, comic. I don't know if it was a comic or graphic novel, because I've not read it, or seen the pictures or something like that. But the interesting thing is that, well, it looked very nice. The art style looked very unique, and seeing like clips and previews of the show, again, felt very unique. For some reason, it looked like one of those high-budget Cartoon Network shows, but in a very British and very unique kind of way. And when I say British, some of the characters in the show are American, but most of the characters are British, living in the British woods, British town, and, you know, I'm British myself, and I've been through many of these scenarios myself, so I found intrigue in watching the show, and it is one of the most popular shows on Netflix. I mean, it's like what got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I know Rotten Tomatoes shouldn't be a reliable source, but everyone else talks about how great of a show it is. It looks like it had Stranger Things and Gravity Falls feel, which you all know how I feel about those shows because you've seen my reviews of them. So I finally got around to watching all of the episodes, including the movie that takes place after the second season, so you have to watch that. And after watching all of the show, yes, guys, I understood the popularity because it is one of the greatest shows I have ever seen, whether it's animation or live action. Well, there's no live action in the show, but no matter if it's animation, because it is one of the greatest animated shows I've ever seen, but any show in general, I loved this show. I mean, I don't know where to begin when talking about the show. Where do I begin? I'm so excited. Okay, I'll calm down now. Let's start off with the design, because the animation style for the show is so unique and so admirable. The character looks are very fluid. Here's the thing, it's a very simple look, because sometimes when characters are like at a different shot, like you see a character far away, they have dotty eyes and little mouths or something like that. But it doesn't matter, because that's how they try to create a unique style, and that's how I feel like it. So honestly, I have no problems with the animation at all. The characters look unique and very different from each other. The look of the creatures were very cool, like those flying things in the sky that Hilda rides, and of course the design of the trolls, those looked very great and very unique. The visual style managed to really add to the coming of age, slice of life texture and tone that this show seems to take, and honestly, the look of the wilderness and the look of the city looks so heartfelt and so admirable that it honestly kind of feels very relaxing and actually makes you feel a little warm and cozy. Especially since the fact that a lot of the characters seem to always drink a cup of tea in the show, so honestly, you could just wrap yourself in a blanket, have a nice hot cup of cocoa or tea or coffee or any hot drink that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, and just watch the show and just feel like so... Oh, this animation. I also loved a lot of the themes that the show explores. Some characters in the show can express a bit of fear and like reservance now and again, especially with David, because he always has a bit of a fear about all these scenarios that Hilda drags him into, but he always learns and manages to realize that his fear doesn't just define who he is, because it's okay to have all this fear stuff inside of you, but you always find a way to make the bravery like pop out, and that's what really admires yourself. I loved Hilda's love for the wilderness and all the creatures and all that, and I like how adventurous she is, and I'll talk more about that when I get to the characters. And I also loved the themes of parenthood and family that the show explores, as the relationship between Hilda and her mother leads to so many emotional misunderstandings, but also understandings between the two, because you tell the love that these two share as mother and daughter. And also the music. My god. I have not seen a lot of reviews for this show, or even reviews in their entirety, but if there's one thing that I would love for these reviewers to talk about is the music, because the music is so vibrant and gives off many different tones that they try to express through these notes, because not only is the score amazing, because again, it adds on to the different tones that this movie takes, like mystery, comedy, or drama. And the horror, I was surprised at how scary that the music sounded for the horror scenes, which I'm glad that they did, because it gives the horrific vibes that these kids are going through. And I like those kinds of scores that do that, but also the different songs that this show gives out and adds into, and very unknown songs. I don't think I ever heard those songs before, but one of the songs, I think I just went back and listened to them again, and the theme tune, oh my god, the theme tune for every episode is stellar. I mean, it's so like, it gives you butterflies in your stomach, it adds to the like wisdom and wholesomeness that the show expresses, that I honestly love the theme tune for the opening so much that I always go back to listen to that song again. That theme tune just, oh, so good. So good. But we got some of the, spectacle out of the way, so now let's talk about what really, really matters and makes the show so much special, and that is the different stories that this show has and its characters. The plots for a lot of these episodes I find very intriguing, and you can actually read more into these plots than you might imagine, because yes, there's a lot of adventure plots, but a lot of the episodes actually take place in this one spot, and it's not dealt with a lot of adventure. It actually, some of the episodes are more character-based, and I like those episodes that do that. And I also like how, for the most part, this is a continuing story, because yes, there's a few, episodes that are on its own, but many of the episodes actually end on cliffhangers and lead into the next episodes, and I like that the show has a continuous story, because it gives us viewers something to look forward to. And I like how this is like a little bit of a kid's show, but it's PG and has a lot of things that you wouldn't expect. But I like that this show trusts its audience, its target audience, to take in everything that it's showing and to also appeal to any age at all. And speaking of everything that you take in, this show also has a great mix of comedy, mystery, horror, and drama, because a lot of the scenes are dealt with characters just expressing who they are, but also looking out for one another. And yes, they do have a lot of comedic scenes now and again, and I will say the comedy is hilarious. I laughed many times, especially whenever the Woodman would come on screen. But the drama is so good too, because these kids are dealing with just everyday problems and very dark themes that you just want to see them make it out alive, as well as the mystical creatures that you go with. And the mother and daughter storylines are also so deep and you can almost bring a tear to your eye, which does lead to a lot of emotional moments. And now, let's talk about one of the more important aspects of this series, the characters. I love every single one of them. Each one of them are unique, each one of them are funny, each one of them are very adventurous, each one of them are caring, so compassionate about each other. They all have unique features about them that help them stand out, and you just feel all the strong bonds and connections between them. And there are so many characters to talk about. Many of them I might not remember their names, but most of the ones that I can remember their names, I feel like definitely deserve mentioning in this video. I won't go through all of them, because again, there's a lot, but we'll just discuss what characters I feel like are worth talking about and just feel like they have their unique importance to this series. First off, of course, we have our titled protagonist, Hilda herself, voiced by Bella Ramsey. This character is one of the most unique and most endearing protagonists in a show I've ever seen, in an animated show or show in general, because while she can get into trouble and she can sometimes cause trouble when she doesn't mean it, she doesn't really know as much as what she's doing, but you also can't really blame her too much because she's just a little girl with a huge sense of adventure. Because yes, she can drag her family and her friends into trouble, but once their trouble is feared and conquered, they always find a way to make it back on top, and she also does learn from her mistakes. I mean, she doesn't truly find all her mistakes learned, but she does try her best no matter what it takes. And I love the relationships and friendships that she forms with all of these people, as well as the creatures involved, whether it's her playing with Twig, whether it's discussing paperwork or strategies with Alpha, whether she's playing a game or having a deep argument or interaction with her mother, when she's talking to Frida and David, when she's standing up to villainous humans and ghosts and creatures and trolls and all that. She really just has the whole package of it. She's 11, but without any powers, and yet still having as much courage and just as much adventure as she can. And I absolutely loved that, the adventurous part of her character. And Bella Ramsey does a fantastic job voicing the character. She's a very well-known British actress, young British actress. I think her age is 19. She's known for being in such shows like The Worst Witch and recently this year, The Last of Us. And this has honestly got to be one of her best performances, and she's going to appear in the upcoming Aardman movie, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nuggets, like the sequel to Chicken Run, so I'm interested to see her in that as a voice actress. And I thought, I haven't seen The Worst Witch, but I thought she was amazing as Ellie in The Last of Us. And that and Hilda are like two of her best roles. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of her, but she's like, man, she's going along with Millie Bobby Brown as a fantastic young actress, because I don't see an actress voicing Hilda. I actually hear Hilda's voice. Like, she came off as very real to me. So, well done, Bella. And also, there's a song that Bella sings called The Life of Hilda, discussing, like, well, the life of Hilda. But that song is so charming and wholesome that you just feel like so warmed up and fuzzy listening to it. And I like how she doesn't sing it like she tries to put on a singing voice. She sings it as Hilda, as a human being, and that's what I love. And then we have her mother, Joanna. Joanna. Longer name for Joanne? Where have I heard about a mother named Joanne before? She's a designer who sketches a lot of drawings and sketches like posters and all that she's trying to make as her career, because I like that passion that she puts into it. But she's also a single mother. We don't know where Hilda's father is. We don't know anything about that, and I wonder if that's a mystery that they're going to carry on to season 3. But I really like Joanna's determination to keep Hilda's like childhood alive, but also understands where her daughter's coming from, because they've lived in the wilderness for so long that they don't really have much interaction outside of the wilderness. So Joanna's trying to help her like adapt to it, and also teaching her many of the tricks and experiences that she went through as a child. And I also love how Joanna's not one of those mothers like, we have to keep the secrets of the wilderness and enchantment away from her mother. They don't do that all the time. They do it sometimes, but most of the time she is involved with many of the adventures that Hilda gets up to. And I ate up Hilda and Joanna's relationship, because it's one of those iconic like mother and daughter relationships where they can misunderstand one another, but at the end of the day they're still family and they'll still stick by each other's side. And it does lead to, again, so many emotional moments that you can't help but really want to cry at. Now, Hilda is one of my 2 favourite characters in the show, because honestly, these 2 characters are just as good as each other. But if we're going to talk about my other favourite character in the show, who might even be a bit more unique of a character than Hilda, that has got to be Twig. Oh my god, I love the character of Twig. He's a very mysterious deer fox, because that is a very unknown species, and because he's like a pet and an animal to Hilda, he doesn't say a single word, and that's why he's the most unique character I have seen in the show, because he doesn't say a single word, but you could get all the emotions and feelings and thoughts that's going on in his head just by looking at his cute, adorable face. He's just so damn cute! And you just want to learn more about this character. Who is he? What is he? How is he a deer fox? Where do deer foxes come from? Where did he come from? How did Hilda find him? You just want to learn more about Twig as a character. And yes, in the first season, he is like that companion to Hilda that gets her through everything that she has to go through. But he gets way more development as the show goes on, especially in the second season. Like, you just learn more about him, and those questions I asked earlier about him, they get answered in an episode. And like that episode in the second season focusing on Twig, that might be my favourite episode of the show so far, and it really changed the way that I looked at Twig, because Twig was a very good character, but not one of the best. But that episode changed my entire perspective of Twig and made him probably my favourite character of the show alongside Hilda. Like, I can't tell which is... Maybe he might be my favourite character, I don't know, that's hard to say, but just Twig, like Hilda and Twig together, they make an unstoppable duo, and such a very cute and so like I'm sorry, I know it's kind of corny for me to be like this, but I just can't help it. I'm being more expressive nowadays. It's like the Wallace and Gromit kind of scenario where Hilda would definitely like get into a few situations that Twig would have to get her out of, but Twig is a more naive kind of version of Gromit, because Gromit definitely knows the adulterism and knows everything that he's doing. Twig knows what he's doing, but also is very naive and mysterious about life himself. And again, just it's this kind of character that really changes a lot, and you'll always feel so heartfelt for this character, especially if you have a pet. Then we have the character of Alpha. No. I hate it how many times that happens. Alpha, not Alpha, Alpha. The character of Alpha is very unique as well. He's like a little elf that is from like an elf community, and one of the most unique things about the elves is that they have a strategy of using paperwork to overcome situations. Like, oh, we'll have to try this, and we have to sign some paperwork now before we do it. And I like that. I like how Alpha is very tied to his paperwork persona. Well, not really persona, but his paperwork is definitely part of who he is. But he'd sometimes, like, even if paperwork is always involved, that's not his number one priority, because he moves with Hilda to the city to like keep her on alert, but as the show goes on, he doesn't really care much about the paperwork anymore, even though he's still doing it. He cares about Hilda and her family and helps them make it through situations, and I like his friendship with Hilda because these two go through unique adventures together. And I like how not everybody can see the elves unless they sign the paperwork, but they can still hear their voices. Like, I like that uniqueness. The last two main characters in the cast of the show is Hilda's friends, Frida and David. These characters, these kids, are very unique and very intriguing and also very lovable as well. Frida in particular, I loved. Much like Hilda, she has an adventurous nature to her personality because she's part of like the Sparrow Scouts that Hilda is a part of, along with David as well. And yes, she can be like, we have to do all of this to get all the badges. The badges are so important. I have so many badges. She can show that she is a bit of a mischief. Oh, I've got so many badges, but I will teach you. But you know, I have so many badges. But that doesn't make her unlikable because, well, we're all so pride with what we do best that we just can't help but just feel so determined to persuade them. But I love how Frida and Hilda bond with each other with their adventurous nature, because while she can be like very hesitant about her adventures, and sometimes she can get a bit moody with Hilda in terms of these adventures, she still goes along with it because from the beginning we know that she is a nice girl, and I loved the personality of her character. And as the show goes on, she learns more about herself and learns about the use of magic. David, I also think, is very good because, yes, he can come off as a fraidy cat many times, but he's just a little boy. We can't expect him to change his ways. In fact, there's literally an episode where he does try to change how he acts and how he sees things and try to be more braver, but that doesn't really work out that well. And I love these kinds of characters that, yes, being afraid can lead to a few troubles, but, you know, everybody makes mistakes, and you shouldn't change who you are, but you can find a way to find courage. So I love how they don't frame his frighteningness as a bad thing, and he does contribute a lot to the show as well, and these three together is an unstoppable trio. So those are the main characters, but there are many other characters in the show that, again, this video is going on a bit long, but I'd love to express all of them and talk about why they're so unique. I mean, obviously, I don't think you can watch the show and talk about it without talking about the character of Tonto. He's this very unique kind of spirit who goes into people's houses through this portal, and the portal that he goes through is very unique and very like, wow, that looks a little weird, but honestly, that's fine. And I love how, unlike a lot of the other characters, Tonto can come off as a bit of an annoyed character. Not annoying, but annoyed character, because he also goes through some troubles and doesn't have time for a lot of fun and games, and also is like, you can't go through these portals, it's very dangerous and could lead to trouble. But Hilda, being herself, always like, nah, we have to go through these portals. But he does show concern and respect and compassion for Hilda's family. We also have the librarian. I can't remember what her name was, but the librarian is also a very interesting character because she just walks around the library that Hilda and her friends usually go to, and much like Twig, you just want to learn more about this character and what is she hiding, you know? You just want to learn more about her. Hilda. And you do learn more about her and figure out that she's actually part of something big, and also it brings Frida into her situation, and I like the bond that these two go through, because the librarian is like a mentor to Frida when she goes through this stuff in the second season especially. The second season, it's very good for that character. And of course, you knew I was going to bring him up. Hello, Hilda. I am the Woodman. The Woodman is, again, a very unique character, and such a wonderful character that manages to steal the show. Because, yes, he can come off as very egocentric, he can come off as selfish, he's a jerk, but we still love him, because there's just something very charismatic about him that, honestly, some of the selfish stuff he does, we actually can't help but root for him, even though it's causing a lot of trouble for everybody. But I find it very interesting that even though he can be a jerk about people's feelings, it's not because he's a bad person. He just struggles to express this kind of compassion. But you do see that his face is very, limited, because there's no eyes, there's no pupils, he's just talking. But even when he's not talking, you still see the emotions that he's going through, and he does show compassion for the characters around him, even though he can sometimes be like a bit of a jerk and only thinks about what he wants. But again, there's just something so charismatic, and the actor who portrays him does an amazing job making him come off as very try to make him come off as very stern with a very low voice, but I just giggle every time I see him. And honestly, I could sit here for ages talking about how great the show is, but I have to start wrapping this review up because it is a very long review. So I'll just say this. Hilda overall is an amazing and just almost near perfect TV show to watch on Netflix right now, because honestly, if you haven't seen the show yet, and I can't blame you because, I didn't know much about the show, but I had seen very interesting. But if you're interested in seeing the show at all, or you know nothing of the show, and I just brought it to your attention, just go watch it. Go watch it now. Even if you think, I have to start watching, the upcoming Walking Dead shows all over the world, just go see this one. I would watch this over Fear the Walking Dead any day, or at least some of the newer seasons. But anyway, let me just go away. But this show it has great characters, great emotion, great comedy, fantastic animation, great themes, great music, great personality, great atmosphere. It's just great. And the season 2 finale, because there's 2 seasons of the show and a movie, the season 2 finale definitely gave a little bit of a cliffhanger to the movie, so you have to watch the TV show first and then watch the movie, and then you'll eventually get into the 3rd, and what I hear, the last season, which might be airing in December later this year. So not too long, we unfortunately have to say goodbye to these characters, and I don't think I'm ready. I'm really hoping Season 3 lives up to the expectations and gives us a very satisfying series finale, because this show, talked about too much, this and Stranger Things are probably my favourite Netflix original shows, and that's why I'm going to give Hilda a 5 out of 5. It is a masterpiece of a show, and again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. But anyway, what do you think of Hilda if you've seen it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And what is your favourite British animated show that is well acclaimed by everybody? Let me know in the comment section below. And I do hope to get more reviews done for October. I do hope to get a Halloween video up by the end of the month. And I also plan to review the movie Hilda and the Mountain King, so probably stay tuned for that. But anyway, I'm Daniel, reviewing movies, TV shows, doing videos, thinking about the life of an adventurer, as well as the life of Hilda. Sorry about that. I mean, I can sing pretty well, but anyway, I'm done reviewing videos and doing videos. Till then, peace out, man. Maybe I should watch an episode of Hilda. Yeah, I'll do that. Where's my popcorn? Well, I don't really eat popcorn a lot, but where's my snacks? Where's my sandwiches and nice hot cup of tea?